welcome to the Barmy Army podcast. Now, this is a bit of a quarantine episode. We've all got together, all on Skype, or actually through somewhere else, actually, to chat to each other, all in our own homes, unlike in the past where we've all been in the same room, all trying to keep our distance during these troubling times. So we're going to discuss basically what we've been up to, what we think of the season, what's going to happen with it. Obviously, today was supposed to be the game of Birmingham, but we're stuck at home. So I'm joined by Mark and Deborah. Hello.
Hi.
Natalie.
Hello.
And Shane.
Hello.
Right, so I'll start off with Mark and Deb. Obviously, it's been a month now since our last game, which was the Everton game. What have you been doing with yourselves? Have you coping well, or have you been struggling with it?
I think the work situation's been the predominant thought in our heads, but we've realised just how much our lives revolve around football. Not just going to games, but watching them and just finding out how much of our time was spent around sport, really. Clearly not playing it. But yeah, it's been challenging, but we're bearing up, aren't we?
Yeah, it's been weird. I mean, I've not worked now for the past 7 days or so. It's weird because I'm speaking to people I work with over Skype and WhatsApp and all that, trying to keep in contact with everyone. But yeah, as Deb said, it's been too long without a game of football. I'm watching reruns, trying to help me get me through it, but it's nowhere close. It's nowhere close to the buzz.
Yeah.
I totally feel your pain. Obviously, I've done quite a few games this season. I think 111 was the last one we did that you were at. That was the under 21 women in City. And it's just, for me, I just don't know what to do with myself, especially stuck at home on my own. It's just crazy. How about you, Nat? What have you been up to?
Well, I'm a key worker, so I'm still working. I'm still going in. I was in today in the office. But yeah, like Deb's saying, it's football is life. Life is football, and to basically going through everything, the stress of it, having to go in actually even, and then to just not even have that relief at the end of the week is just, it's so surreal. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel normal. It feels like pre-season, but it's not, because at least you're getting updates and you know what's going on. There's literally nothing's going on. We're just waiting to hope that and pray that, everything comes back to normal soon.
Yeah, I know what you mean. At the end of the week, I just love to go to a game, even getting out to go to the pub with a couple of mates. Can't even do that anymore. Just been stuck in. It's just been horrendous. And obviously football's the main release, and that's just been non-existent. How about yourself, Shane? What have you been up to, mate?
Not the same, really. It's just work, innit? We were supposed to be a month off with no game, weren't we? And come back and have 3 in a week, and they took it off us, the gits. So, yeah, I think last day in the office was Monday. So I've just been working from home since, and then sure we'll find out what's happening around all that, because obviously everywhere's shutting, so there ain't going to be as much work left to do. But, yeah, I think the realisation of it's going to kick in now with no football when we should have been having games. We're all going to sit there and go, we should have had West Ham Sunday, we should have been Birmingham tonight, we should have had the big one on Saturday, City, TV game. Don't know what we're going to do now.
I mean, we've been quite unfortunate as well, really. Not only have these games been cancelled or postponed because of this coronavirus, but before this, we had 3 games postponed because of the weather. So we've
the one tonight was supposed to be one of those rearranged ones, wasn't it? So
it might not have been so bad, but as it is, it just seems to be more games just we're not having, and it's just a bit of a nightmare at the moment. So obviously, in the situation we're in, all the players are at home. They're doing their own little bit of training. They're not match fit or anything. Nobody knows when this is going to end. Everyone's saying at the end of April, but that's just an estimation. I think personally, it's going to be prolonged. What do you think is going to happen to the rest of the season? Do you think it's going to be called off? Do you think we're going to play behind closed doors? Do you think we're going to have like a mini tournament in a week where we get all the games out of the way? What are your thoughts, Mark? What are your thoughts, Deborah?
Personally, I am very sceptical about the season finishing at all. If we're not, according to the Prime Minister and all the scientists and all the doctors around him, everything they're saying is that we're not going to hit our peak of the virus until June. Now, UEFA have stupidly made a statement saying that they wanted to finish the leagues by the end of June. Well, personally, that's not going to happen here in the UK, I don't think, because if that's when the peak is, no, it's going to be unsafe for anything to happen at all. So for me, I personally think the leagues, the Premier League, the WSL, the Championship, the EFL, I just think they're going to have to call the leagues, and I think that'll be it for me, I'm afraid.
Because the timescale that they're playing with, you've obviously got tournaments in the summer. So we can't keep postponing those year on year on year. The Olympics has been put back. The men's Euros has been put back a year, but the women's Euros, they will keep the season to a certain point. They will mean that the season has to be played by a certain date. And much the same as Mark said, if all the scientific information is still holding true, then surely, as much as we'd love to see it, surely we can't actually get the season playing and have players close to one another whilst we're still in the midst of this. So I would love to see the season coming back sooner rather than later. I just can't see how they can finish this season, because it's going to mean a period of time to get the players back to match fitness. So it's going to need maybe 2 or 3 weeks once the decision's made. Then let's try and cram all the games in, finish the games, then have an off-season, then have a pre-season, and do it all over again in time to have the Euros. For me, I just can't see how this season can actually end unless it has a massive impact on next season and things just cascade for years on.
That's the main problem for me. Do we want this season to ruin next season as well? I'd rather it just get rid of it and then make sure next season's a full season, and then we've got the tournaments in the summer and see how it goes from there. How about yourself, Nat? What do you think's going to happen?
I think it's going to go ahead. I think it'll start about July, but they'll just cram it all into one. So all the FA Cup will go. That'll go. Maybe even like the European trophies may go. For me, I think the women will do whatever the men do. That's what I've been told. That's what I've been. You know, it's a professional. Fair enough, and I think the money with the Premier League means that they'll keep. They'll have to finish it. They won't be able to stop it. So I think the Premier League's going ahead. They'll just cram it all in, and I think it'll finish, and I think basically the new season will start. There might be a couple of weeks, but it'll just be straight on it. And I think they'll have to not cut down, but they'll have to look at the number of games maybe. I don't know. Maybe try and put in what's usually a weekend game in midweek kind of thing next year to just get it all through. But I think next season will be affected, and then 2022 is when we'll be all back to normal, really.
Well, that's under the assumption that everything's going to be all right by the end of April and everyone can be back to normal. Even if the best case scenario where that happens, it's not going to be everyone back in the streets doing the normal thing. It's going to be a time of adjustment to get back into normal society. And personally, I think it's going to be extended.
I think it'll be July, Dave.
Yes, exactly. If it's July, though, how long then before we can get set up to the next season?
Yeah, the one. Sorry to interject. The one point I will make is that if it is July, as we all are hoping it will be, they're going to need to get the match fitness back. So they're going to have to do like an almost mini pre-season to get the match fit, to get the games going again. So if it's July, you're going to look towards the end of July. So that's already August time. It's just getting pushed further and further back.
Just going to jump in and say, sorry, Shane. The only reason I think they would go hell for leather in July is the weather supposedly is better. You consider our matches that have been postponed, they were weather related. So whether it was waterlogged pitch, flooding, and obviously it wasn't safe for people. The only thing that would give them confidence, I think, to run the season, obviously it's a hark back to the days of the summer season, but if they go in the summer, you'd think they're pretty certain to be able to get those matches played on the days they decide. So maybe that will push them to think about going for it.
And what are your thoughts on this then, Shane?
I think Dad makes a good point. You got to get better weather in the summer, and as Matt's saying as well, you start in July and try and cram it all in. I wonder whether they'll try and actually use the tail end of this season as a pre-season for next season, so to speak. So, do you think they're all? If you cram a load of games in, obviously there's going to be fitness issues, and there is a risk to injury as well, especially after having so long off. But if they're all fresh, you get a couple of friendlies in August, something like that. You can start the season in September and just go again and roll it on. Of course, I mean, the season was probably going to start a bit later in September with the Olympics happening anyway. So whether or not, if they try and cram all the games in towards the end of this summer and then try and, maybe that puts them back on sync with the schedule for next season, I don't know. I'm saying that from the Women's League perspective, obviously. I mean, men's is a completely different kettle of fish, isn't it?
Yeah, I was saying this earlier, like what Nat was saying there, that the women are going to mirror the men, basically what the men do, the women do. The big issue is, say, like there are games behind closed doors, for example, with the men. If these games at Old Trafford behind closed doors, games at Stamford Bridge, for example, and people are still stuck at home, not everyone's going to be able to watch them because not everyone has Sky and BT at home, and some people go out to the pubs to watch it, go around to a mate's house to watch it. And the way that Sky operate at the moment, saying that they're not charging the pubs for the Sky Sports bundles because there's nothing on, money really does affect the game. And I just think that if there's no money for it, I don't think they're going to push it. It's going to be all up to Sky and BT, I think.
Yeah, no way, Reds.
No way.
But I don't mind how we don't me just jumping in. I think definitely it's up to Sky and BT, but we know we have we missed the Bants too. We know we have the FA player. There's also talk of BT sort of they're being like, so if it goes behind closed doors, if you're a season ticket holder or if you had a ticket or whatever, you'll get a code to watch it, so you can watch it in your house. So even if you haven't got Sky or BT or whatever, they were still going to make it available, and the government are saying they'll still make it available because they don't want people crowding in pubs. So I think pubs and all that, I think if it is behind closed doors and the women, we know we've got the FA player, so we know we can watch it anyway. I don't think that'll change if it's behind closed doors, the FA player. So I don't think they'll do the cups anymore, but it's just say the FA Cup, if anyone wanted to watch the end of that. They don't really do that on the FA player, but I'm sure they could just get that out. But I just think they'll be more focused on finishing the league. That's the main thing. Yeah, obviously it'll be unfortunate whether Birmingham were in the cup and things like that, but the league, with the men, the feeling is the league's the most important. So I think they'll just get the league out of the way. I don't think there'll be any travelling around Europe anyway for a long time. So I think like all the European competitions will be done.
Right. So let's just say, for example, the season is over.
Maybe.
That's all it is. What we're saying not going to happen, but it's just end of the season. Basically, I want off each and every one of you your player of the season and why. So I'll start with you, Mark.
Good luck.
Player of the season.
And why?
And why?
And why?
Ready?
Well, I think it's going to be the obvious choice around most of us. Leah.
Oh, I'm going to go first.
Mm-hmm.
Leah, I think she's been an absolute Well, that's a good shout, actually. I never thought of that one. No, Leah for me. She's, as Natalie would say, and I'm going to use a Natalie phrase now, everyone. She has most of the fullbacks on toast.
So many things could have said there. I think Shane was worrying which one you were going to come out with there.
No, Leah for me. She's been outstanding.
I'd agree. I think she's... Last season, the second half of the season, she was outstanding. And I think she started well this year and has just built on that. It's a shame we've not been able to see what she can do at this point in the season, whether she can sustain that. Every indication was that she should. But, Torrin agrees with me. So I think for me, her consistency and just... She's got better. She's got better and better. Let's not forget, the last game we did play was Everton. She scored a couple there. And she's just looked an absolute world beater. So for me, definitely Leah. Not even a difficult decision.
Go on, Nat.
For me, it's not difficult because it's there, but I think LJ got a shout her out, 18 years old this season, scored our top goal scorer. She's scoring, a lot of our goals. She's been playing as number 9. She's not a 9 in my opinion. But let's go back to Butter and Nuttells. Leah Galton on fire. The sauce that she's bringing is just unbelievable. Kate said she's the best in the world. I told her she was the best in the world after Everton.
Oh, well.
Yeah, she is.
We've all been telling her that before, Everton. What have you been doing?
Yeah, listen, Everton. When I'm talking about Everton, I'm talking about Everton in the Conti Cup all them years ago.
all them years ago. Let me just get my calendar. Hang on.
This girl, and there was a lot of people who were like, "When Man United come, they're going to find it so difficult." Listen. This WSL is nothing to us, right? Let's just add a few more in and we're on fire. That's it.
We'll talk about
Leah.
Go on then, Shane. Are you going to give me a different answer? Or are you going to...
No, I'm going with the crowd because I think the biggest indication with Leah, obviously, as Deb said, she came back for the Everton game and she's instantly come 2 goals in, playing her match performance. She got subbed off, but that was because it was her first game back. I think the thing I'd highlight is look at how much we missed her for the games that she was injured. Yeah. Brighton away being a big one, where I know we said less said about that game the better, but the games that we missed her, it was clear. And in some respects, it was concerning that we rely on her that much, but that's the biggest highlight of how good she is that we do rely on her that much. So I think it's hard not to give it to Leah. I don't know if Nat said it because she keeps going quiet, but Hayley Ladd as well. As much as she's come in and done the job that we wanted her to do, and that moving from last season to this season was kind of the role that we all sort of highlighted as that we'd need in this league. I think overall, up to now, she has come in and done that job well. So I'd put her as a close second, I think. Yeah,
she's been our best signing for me by a mile. Really underrated player as well because she's not a goal scorer, apart from obviously she did score a goal, which was the wonder goal, but not really a goal scorer. But just great work for the team.
Celebration too.
Yeah. Just makes us a better team. I will say a big shout out as well to Kirsty Hansen. I think she's been the most improved this season. She's been unreal. And you were talking there about when Leah was out the team, but Hansen was out the team at the same time. And I think that just changed the whole setup dynamic completely. But yeah, you're all right. It's Leah by a country mile. She's been our best player. You can't put a foot wrong with her, can you? And it's just, I think for me, she's just one of the best players in the league.
I think for me anyway, Leah stands out. But as people have said in looking at the comments, you've got Hayley Ladd, I think Mill. There's not just LJ. There's not just one player. There's actually quite a few that you could give a shout out about. For me, I've said Leah, but you look at Amy Turner at right back.
Yeah.
She's been immense at right back. You look at Martha at left back. You know, there's more than just one, but Leah is just that little bit ahead of everyone else.
She's a game changer.
Yeah. It's just like Everton really showed it, didn't it? When she came on the left-hand side, just scored 2 goals, just immense.
And the pitch wasn't great either at that game.
No.
It was awful. And she
obviously, it should have the bad weather we've had, so...
I'd settle for that weather right now, actually.
Yeah. We'll take the storms. We thought that was the worst thing.
No, this weather is good, man.
Now it is. The storms now.
Right. So, goal of the season then. What's been... doesn't have to be the best goal, but your favourite goal, let's say. Start with Shane this time.
Oh. Oh, God. Do you know, for probably reasons what everyone's going to give as well, one of my favourites was obviously Lauren against Liverpool. Up to that point, we hadn't scored. Admittedly, it's only 3 games into the season, but we've just come off the back of a loss against City and a loss against Arsenal. Narrow losses, ones where we performed well, put a good shift in. The amount of time it took us to score in that game was so annoying. And I think it gets up to that point where she puts the ball in the net, and it was a mixture of you've scored against Liverpool, big deal, but also the relief. Deb's laughing because she knows what I'm going to say, because we turned around and looked like absolute maniacs when that goal went in. I'll still say to this day, I wish the cameras would have been put on us at that point, because they'd have really seen what the word Barmy means, because that's exactly what happened with us. I think if we're going to go different goal, though, in terms of technique and stuff, Hayley Ladd's got to be up there. It's just an absolute peach, wasn't it?
The technique,
and to celebrate so casually as well. I mean,
But don't you think, though, the celebration was very much Eric Cantona against Sunderland? That's what I love.
Exactly what Laura said. She was just missing the collar being turned up. That's all it needed.
Right, go on, Nat. Your favourite goal?
I'm going to go out the box. Ain't no one going to guess that I'm going to come up with this goal.
I don't know.
We were really struggling. Go on.
No, you go first.
It was a game we were struggling in, and it was before this sticky patch. Well, it was around the same time as the sticky patch. It was Brighton in the Conti Cup, and the second goal, the way that Lauren had it in the middle, passed it off to Jess. Not passed it off to Jess, passed it off to Katie in the middle. She pinged it out wide. Jess took it down, ran to the byline, whipped it in first time, and Jane, boom, stuck her foot out, top corner, 2-0. I think it went 2-0, didn't it? Yeah, it went 2-0. Yeah. Then it went 2-1.
Yeah.
That was a game that was just, God, we were nervous. We looked good in penalties. They had the penalty. She missed that first penalty. We just looked all at 6s and 7s. So when that goal came, it was like, yes, we're 2-0 up. Got a bit of a cushion. Yeah, we didn't. We made it difficult and went it 2-1 and all this. But James Ross, Brighton, let's go. But that Lauren one is good, though. I love that Lauren one. Always. And everyone's talking about Zellum free kick. That was amazing as well.
Yeah.
She scored a few.
Go on then, Deborah. What's yours?
I was going to go for Katie for that free kick. Just quick point to come back to you on, Shane. Your description of Barmy. The Barmy celebration, surely. I know the game wasn't great.
Hang on. This might be my goal. Was it an away game in the evening?
This is the one Dave's got footage of, isn't it?
No, this is an away game in an afternoon.
Yeah, but it went evening when the goal went in. It was dark.
It was the winter. It was dark.
Did I have a different hat on to this?
Well, I'll bring my hat. Mine was
I was wearing that day. I'm going to go. Well, the Barmy celebration will always be Lauren against West Ham. But if you're talking about best goals and goals that I really enjoyed, Amy T's at Everton that came out of
Yes.
nowhere. Anybody expected that? Jess's against Reading, the second goal, we were under the cosh, and she took that ball. Jackie played a ball through, and she ran from pretty much the halfway line. But I have to say, honourable mention to Abby Mack's equaliser against City in the FA Cup. Oh, no, that's right. It wasn't given. Other than that, what a celebration that was, Shane.
Oh, the scenes, mate. Then
I still say it. We had
I'm going to start crying again.
But yeah, either Amy's, other than Zell's free kick against City, for me, it's either Amy at Everton, just for the sheer shock factor, or Jess against Reading.
Go on, Mark.
Lauren at Everton as well was good. Go on.
Mine isn't, the goal isn't great. I'm going to say that it's the celebration, and it's we were directly behind it. Zell's free kick, Zell's penalty against Everton.
Okay, at the other end.
At the other end, and we had Mary right behind us, and Mary's celebration. We all that was it for me. That was it. The penalty was an easy goal. It was an easy goal for us to score, but the celebration and what we were all doing behind the goal, that for me was, that for me was.
Yeah, the goals you've been talking about, obviously, for me, Hayley's was the best technical goal. I thought that was just a brilliant goal. Lauren against Liverpool, like Shane was saying, our first goal, she took it really well against Liverpool. It meant a lot. But yeah, that West Ham one for me, she came on and the way we were right behind that goal as well, and the way she took it, just up until that point. Well, when she scored that goal, that was brilliant. We were away from home, night game, evening game, or afternoon, I'd like to call it, in the winter, and it was all looking rosy, and then it just went downhill from there. But up to that moment, that was brilliant.
I think we thought that was game over as well when that one went in, didn't we? We thought that was game on. What was there, like 6 minutes left or something like that when she scored it?
It was
so I think that added to the celebration as well. Yeah.
Right. So season one.
What I will say about that. Go on.
No, go on.
No, I just want to say they've learned from that. Definitely, they've learned, because for me, I think like the Reading game and even that last game that we had, the Everton game, they've seen it out. They've been more smarter about it since that game.
I don't know. I think it could have gone completely different at Brighton away. That could have been very much like West Ham. But it was what it is. Right. So season as a whole so far, if this is the end, how have you seen it? You been happy with it, disappointed, or just think what it is? I'll start with Nat this time.
4th. At the start of the season, I said we need to finish 4th. We always said between 4 and 6, but I think internally a lot of us were just saying, 4. We'll finish 4th. And I think I've been a bit, not underwhelmed, but I've been a bit shocked. I was expecting a lot higher standard. Not saying it's not a high standard, and that's not putting us down. And I just think, it's been quite not easy, but it's at times when we've been on our form, when we've been playing our best, I think, that's why we're talking about games like Bristol, Brighton, and all this, and saying, well, why aren't we picking up 3 points? And into these games like against West Ham, Reading, Reading and West Ham are good teams. We've been going there saying we should be doing this, we should be doing that, and I think slowly and surely, we haven't, but I think we know we're setting our standards for years to come. And I think maybe if we'd had that City game and we had won it, it would have been a real, set a marker, right? We've beaten top 3 team. I mean, when we beat City, we've shown we can do it. I think the FA Cup game, they were the better team in the first half, and we were the better team in the second half, and there was a little bit, but we've shown we can go against them. I think it's been what we expected, to be honest. Anyone else?
How about you, Mark?
Well, I've said it publicly on other podcasts, on Rodney's podcast, that we should be finishing between 4th and 6th. For me, to finish between 4th and 6th would be a great season, and that's where we are. After the start we had, City away, Arsenal at home, Liverpool at home, Tottenham away. we came out with some points from those. We came out with 6 out of 12, which I thought would be a good haul. In my opinion, it should have been, we should have got at least a draw against Arsenal at home on that Monday night game. And even City, I wasn't, that impressed with the City. They had, the one goal, one shot, and we had better chances, I think, in that game at the Etihad. But I think Casey, as a whole, she's building a squad for the future, not just for now. And I think she's brought in some technically very good players, some that we haven't probably seen the best of yet. Hopefully that's to come. And she's relying, and I have no issue with the fact that she's kept faith with a majority of the squad that took us from the Championship up into the WSL. And actually, some of those players, I think, have probably shown they are better players than some people or some other teams thought they were. So yeah, I'm very happy with where we are. And if it was to finish right now, I mean, 4th, you can't complain in your first season in the top league.
I remember when we were talking about the season to come, back end of last season, we were all saying between 4th and 6th. And a few of us, I think myself included, felt 4th was quite was a heck of an achievement if we got it, but it was possible. And then we lost Alex, and suddenly it was actually maybe 6th. So with that in mind, the fact that we are 4th, and I think we've deserved that place so far in the league. I think our performances against the 3 teams above us, who we always knew would probably lead the way, our performances against them have been better than the results have been. We've had disappointing results against teams below us, but you look at the team, you look at the fact that we came up with Tottenham, and we've beaten them with relative ease. Everton are the ones around with us. Again, beaten them. Reading should have beaten them at their place, beat them at our place. So the teams immediately around us, beneath us, I should say, we've got good results again. So I think we deserve the current position we've got. And if the season ends here and we finish it in 4th, I don't know if there'll ever be a record of it or whether they just wipe the season. I'm not sure. I think there's a lot for the team to be proud of. This is certainly the best we thought we could do. I think when we discussed this back end of last season, we knew Arsenal, Chelsea, City, and whatever order were going to be top 3. But this, of course, now means if we can get 4th, and I agree with Nat, the quality at times, the level hasn't impressed me, but it's what happens now. Because now that we've got 4th with half of our Championship squad, maybe obviously more, what now? Because 4th isn't good enough next season. 4th is stagnating, but everybody else is getting better. It's about what we do. But for me now, I'm not getting involved in your games, Natalie. I'm just making the point that if we've got 4th with the squad we have now, we've got to look at strengthening that. Everybody else is going to strengthen, granted, but I'm very pleased with how this season ends. If this is it, I think we deserve 4th right now.
And you, Shane?
Yeah, I don't think I can really say much else that hasn't already been said. I think, as Deb said, the back end of last season, start of this, many of us said 6th would be happy with, 5th would be happy with, 4th, brilliant. If you break out 4th against the top 3, well, you're almost getting into an overachievement territory. And then you kind of don't get to judge where you exactly are. If you have a sort of bit of a freak season and one of those top 3 teams has a bit of an abnormally poor season, it doesn't really tell the full tale. But the fact that we can go and get 4th in our first season in the top league, it does speak about the quality that we've got in the squad. But then, as Deb says as well, it also shows that we need to be getting higher than that next season. Now, if we can get 4th in our first season in the top tier, we need to bring in quality that's going to start taking us above that, especially in the future as well, when you consider there's a 3rd place opens up for Champions League.
I think the one thing that, sorry to interject again, I think the one thing that I would say I don't think. I think someone's made the point, and I've just put it on the screen. City, we've played them 3 times.
Yeah, we do play them 4.
We played them 3 times, drawn 1.
But we beat them this weekend.
We've done well against City. The Arsenal game was a tight game. I think we'll all say that, and they took that last chance in the last minute, and it went in. But I think the team that stands out, that the only team that I think that probably outplayed us is Chelsea, and I think they're a better team than us currently. But the other 2, Arsenal and City, anyway, I think that they're there for maybe next season with a few more players, and I think an out-and-out goal scorer. I think we're a different proposition.
I mean, I thought I was be happy if we stayed in the league and we didn't get relegated again. I know that's negative, but I was just thinking this is the season to get into the league and then figure out what we need to be about, and then the next season after that is the one where we start making strides. But yeah, it's been more than good, really. 4th, and you got to say we've done that being quite inconsistent, and not just us being inconsistent. Inconsistencies in the refereeing as well is like the Reading game. We don't really talk about that, but and the City, the goal that never was, things like that do affects maybe the morale in the team and may affect performances. And some of the performances this season have been brilliant, but others have been pretty poor. West Ham, we talked about it before. I mean, that was diabolical, really, the way we played. The way we started as well, we looked bright to begin with, and then we just faded away. And the same with Brighton. I mean, we scored in after like 10 seconds, and then it just all went downhill after that. And I just really need to work on things like that, the mentality of the team. Because if we're going to have a challenge for the Champions League and things like that, we really do need to start thinking about, how we're going to play the game week in, week out, and be consistent week in, week out. And obviously, something we'll move on to now is signings. What do you think we need to get to that next level? Start with you, Nat.
God.
Well, let me put it this way then. Positions that you think we need, and your dreams. If you could have anyone, who would you have?
Hard, isn't it? I've already said it. I say it all the time. But the thing is, what makes me laugh, everyone's like, oh, she's not going to come United. Why is she going to come United? Da, 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 da. Listen, that's the level that we need. We need world class, right? That's the difference. If Ellen White had come to us, we would have been in first position. That's how little I think it is between us and that top. I think it's only a couple of quality players. Like right back now, Hannah Glass, she can play. She's Swedish right back. She can play right back, and I think centre back. Someone like that bringing in, I think would be, add a lot to our team. I just think we need to add full-backs, add a striker. But I think what she needs to do is rotate it a bit. I'm not saying change the whole team, change a winning team, but I just think when people are in form, play them. So I think when Suni was into that form, she scored about 5 goals versus Leicester. And yes, it's Leicester, and yes, it's this. Well, give her that chance. Know that door's there for her. Look how she's coming versus Everton. And to me, she was one of the... Yeah, Leah scored the 2 goals, but for me, she was next to Leah as one of the best players. She was everywhere. She's got that 3rd goal because it came into Jess in the box, but she was there on it straight away. And I think, giving these players a chance when they play well in like the Conti games or in the FA Cup game, and we've not really had chance with it just being City, But I think definitely people knowing that that rotation's there, you play well, you're gonna break into the like when I say first team, I mean the league first team, and I think a bit of that she's starting to do it now. She dropped Zellen, Suni came in. I think there'll be more rotation if we do. If we play all these games in quick succession, she's gonna have to rotate anyway. So I think see a lot of that, and just a striker.
Go on, Shane. Who do we need? What positions? And who would you dream of having?
Well, yeah, I think striker's been the key one, hasn't it? I mean, how many times have we come out of games where we've said, and Casey said, and so many people have turned around and said, we need to take our chances. And we've got people on the wings in Leah, Kirsty Hansen, who are quite capable of creating those chances. Look at how often, especially Leah, how often she's getting to the ball and puts the ball in the box. Even against Everton, there was a couple of times at least, I mean, I was stood next to you, Dave, and pointed out, didn't I? There was a couple of times she's pulled it back in the box. There was no one there. They're either 5 yards ahead of it or 5 yards behind it. You need someone with the intelligence of making the runs that they need to make and getting in the box. I don't know how many times I'm stood in the stands. Deb's probably sick of me because all I ever shout is "get in the box." And it is, you see Leah's breaking her neck to get down the byline to get the ball in, and everyone else is on the edge of the area. You're not giving yourself, you give yourself a better chance of putting the ball in the net if you've got someone who's going to break the neck to get in the box. You make that front post run. It doesn't have to come to that person, but someone to make that run off the ball to free up the space for someone else. So I think if you have a striker of that quality, and who I don't know, because let's face it, I mean, we're this is our second year. It's my second year in this game. I don't know who the hell is out there a lot of the time. I only know what I see, and that's the players that we play against each week. So I think striker's definitely one. I'd like to see a bit more depth in the wide areas, just given that obviously Leah gets injured, Kirsty's injured, Lizzie Arnott can come in obviously, but you've got one player that can play both positions maybe. I appreciate it's difficult for a manager to maybe go out and buy someone or bring someone in and say, you're a bench player. I'm not saying that's the conversation I'd have, but, you don't want to be going out and telling someone we're buying you, but you're just backup. But you need to be able to add depth. And I think if we're going to start looking to push higher than fourth, you need to have a bit more depth for rotation, as Nat said.
Yeah. I mean, what you're saying there about what you've been chanting during the games, it can't be any worse than someone screaming down your ear, switch every 5 minutes. So I think you're pretty safe there.
I was just about to say, Shane, that's not the worst thing that ever gets shouted at games. And in that respect, you're only shouting what I'm thinking as well. So I'm with you on that one. Go on, do you want to?
I can't say any different than what Nat and Shane have said. We need, in my opinion, a striker who is going to score us.
Well, name some names. Everyone said the position, but no one's mentioning names.
The thing for me, Dave, and I agree with you.
Don't come for me.
Yeah.
Sam Kerr. Nat, you were all over Sam Kerr for a while. How did that one pan out, eh?
Even wanted a sticker
Tony
on
Duggan.
Tony Duggan's a good one, yeah. I agree with Shane. The only thing I know about women's football is what I see when I go to United. That's it.
I think Torrens made a good point there. Yeah, we need an out-and-out striker. The one thing I would say, in terms of how we strengthen during the summer, whenever the transfer window ever happens to be, it might be an autumn one at this rate, we need to get upgrades. So squad players, no. We need upgrades on what we've got. But I think we need experience, because one of the things I've noticed at times this year is we've lost our heads and we've got very flustered and we seem to lose our shape, and it just looks like it needs somebody to go, calm down, and just slow everything down. And I think, yes, we've got a young squad, and sometimes that's been quite evident. And some of the signings we made last summer are the more experienced players. I think we might need a couple more around them. We need voices as well, just to shout out, just calm it. And we've also got potential for some of the players to improve. I know John's asked the question, I think it's John's asked the question about Kirsty Hansen, who I think has really improved and has stepped up this season. Maybe some of these players are going to, whenever it comes, have great pre-seasons and push on from there. But I think if we are going to buy anybody, we need the striker's an obvious one, I think. But I would like to see us buying quality upgrades on what we already have, but also a bit of experience.
I think going back, obviously I said a striker. I think we need a fullback as well, whether it be a right fullback or a left fullback. So if you're going to mention a fullback that is potentially out of contract in the summer,
go away.
You go to Lucy Bronze.
No, you don't.
Potentially, I don't think she'll come. I think she'll want. I think she'll want Champions League.
to be fair, there's 2 out of contract fullbacks at Leon who can get on a free.
Listen, forget about this bullshit, right? I'll tell you the players. Listen, let me just start. Hannah
Well,
Glass
let
is a
me just ask
Swedish
one
loose
question
ball.
first now. How many times have you seen these players play?
Never mind, right? I know about them, and I watched Hannah Glass play for Sweden versus whatever team when Lotta was playing, and she
it
actually
was a
looked quite
very
good.
memorable
Whatever
match.
team.
Which
So,
league do they
Hannah
play in?
Glass, definitely. Hannah Glass plays for Paris, and she's out of contract. Steph Cratley plays in the NWSL and the W League, and I watched her play the other day. So don't come for me in the grand final and she scored. Listen, you have to think outside the box. You're going on about Lucy Bronze and all. It'd be great, but we're not going to get them, you know? So
I
we
know.
need to think outside the box and get someone in. Like you're saying, the female Solskjaer. We didn't get Solskjaer just from, we went to Norway. This is what we have to do. We have to go and travel the world. It's not just about I'm not saying it, but those are the players that we're seeing, English players. What about what's her name? We have seen her play, Ramona Batman for Chelsea. I would take her. People are saying no, but
If I based it on what I
take
saw of her
Alicia
a couple of
Lane
years ago, then yeah, I'd say yeah. But
Yeah.
I haven't, whether it's because she hasn't been playing or not, or if it's just form. But this season of what I've seen of Bachmann, I haven't seen what I saw a couple of years ago, which a lot of it was restricted to the World Cup before last, of course. But
I just
The
feel
only
like
other one that I'm hearing is Fran Kirby.
I just feel we need
We've seen her
at
play.
least 4 players really. I think fullbacks. I think 1 on each side. I think we definitely need a striker, and I do feel we need a midfielder as well. Not necessarily to replace players, but to make them fair for the place, kind of thing. Because we've got players there who just know they're going to play every week, and they're just content with playing. They need someone to challenge them, and maybe looking towards the future. All depending on next season how they do. Maybe another centre back.
Can I just name 2 players that I actually still play? Maz Pachenko and Poppy Patterson. Bang, there's your fullbacks. I just think, though, as well, and they've got experience. Yeah, they might be young, but they've got experience in the WSL. I think, we need to be realistic about where we're going to go. And I just think, what would anyone, though? Here's a question. Sorry, Dave, I know I'm sort of taking over. But if it was just by a striker and that's all we got, would you be upset?
Yeah.
Depends who wins.
World class quality, like
But
Miedemar kind of striker.
He wouldn't show any ambition to upgrade the squad. If we want to get into that Champions League positions, we can't just do it with a striker. Yeah, a striker would improve us a hell of a lot, but there's other positions in that team that need sorting out. It's about the team, not about the one individual player.
I think for me, it's a great question, that, because it depends who you go and you look on it. Depends who it is, obviously. If it's a world class striker, then you would be a fool not to take her. But on the flip side of that, I agree with Dave. A striker would be great and potentially score us a lot of goals, but a striker doesn't make a team. It's a part of the team.
I just think the season's going to make a bit of a mockery of any transfer window, potentially. I think there's a lot of plans, and we know from certain other signings that decisions are made. Well, by now they've already been made. You could find what with travel that restricts a lot of people signing for clubs. Yeah. I think we have to be looking year on year to get in at least a couple of quality players. But here's one for you. If we're bringing players in, who's going the other way?
I was waiting for that
Jane, it's your go now.
There's
Your
at least
go, Shane.
there's at least 3 players that need replacing. I think. I'm not going to mention names. I'll mention the players who want to come in, but I'm not going to mention players who should go because
I'll mention their initials, but not their...
You can work. Everyone can work it out. Well, yeah, there's at least 3 that we need replacing.
I've got 2. Oh, 3. I've got 3. I think I'll text you later about them, Dave.
Yeah, we'll have a chat when the stream's off.
You know, I find it really difficult at this stage though, because obviously you start having these conversations right at the back end of the season. You know, sometimes even when there's only 1 game left, and you've got 2.5 months of, you know, you've got a month before pre-season, and then you've got a month before your season actually starts, and that's where the whole who's going, you know, where that comes out of the water, and then it's like who's going, who do we bring in to replace those, who do we buy on top of that, you know, as additions rather than replacements, and then like we're at a stage where we've still got 7 or 8 games left technically to go of the season, and they was trying to work out who we think should go. I mean, for all we know, let's assume all this stuff hasn't happened, and we've got, you know, we've just played West Ham, we've played Blues tonight. Someone who maybe hasn't performed as well as they could, and who might be on the list of players that people think should go, might suddenly improve. I'm not saying they would, you know, there's always a big if, isn't there? But, you know, someone could suddenly come out back in the season and absolutely smash it, and all of a sudden it changes your whole perception of what you need to do in the summer.
Here's one for you then, just quickly. We've got 5 goalkeepers. Surely we only need 3.
Yeah.
Who are you picking for the chopping board?
Can I just go? Can I go?
Yeah.
Sorry, Shane.
Right.
I'll tell you the goalkeeper. Well, yeah. But I think, Shane, in terms of what you're saying and what Mark and Deb sort of said, and I will talk about maybe who might go, goalkeeper, whatever, but like we said, we know that the players decided who have been like chosen in advance. We knew that, say, Jackie was chosen, say, you know, December. She was going out and doing all this, and, you know, it was pretty much tied up by then. So do we think that she's potentially decided, well, we know who's going out? Does she do that at the same time? Yes, they could have a wonder season, but then, you know, the last 8 games, but you've not done it all the season. Is that really, you know, does she take that into consideration?
Of course.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, going to your point, Dave, there's actually 5 goalkeepers, technically.
Yeah, there's 5.
There's 5. I think, yeah, I think, you know, someone has said it in the comments. Matt Johnson said it in the comments. Mm-hmm. He thinks Siobhan might retire. I'm not so sure. I can't see us needing 5 goalkeepers. I think it's
overkill.
Yeah.
The issue you'll have with Shiv is she might not be able to prove her fitness because she can't play, or she can't. I mean,
can't train.
Yeah. Ultimately, obviously, she won't be in a position straight away anyway. But she's not had that opportunity. We've got 1 goalkeeper who signed a contract extension, so they're not going anywhere. So you're between the other 3, thinking, where are they going?
I also think Casey will already know now who's staying and who's going. I mean, you know, I'm going to have a very interesting conversation after we finish this tonight with Dave about the players, because I've gone from 4 to 6. I'm
going to write them
down. So I think.
Oh, the tears, Natalie! Imagine the tears on Twitter from you.
Is this including goalkeepers?
Pardon?
Is your 5 including goalkeepers?
Yeah.
Oh, that doesn't count then.
Hang on. Yeah, no, it does. So I think Casey.
Mine isn't on the list, so it doesn't matter.
I think Casey will already know who's going and potentially who's coming in as well. But
this will throw the window into absolute chaos.
I think the one of the points that I think we've made it earlier on, and it's absolutely right, is that a player might right now could be playing themselves into a bit of form, and they could have been on the cusp of staying or going, and now because of what's happened, and hopefully we get some football back soon, that plan might have changed, and now there's got to be that ruthless line of sorry, see ya kind of thing. It's synonymous with the women's game.
Yeah.
There's also the issue of contracts as well that are going to run out. If it takes too long to get the season going again, or there's a chance that the season that we're in now could extend over what would be a contract expiration, what happens then? There's players as well that have already signed pre-contract agreements, not necessarily with us, but other clubs. What's it? Melanie Leopold's to Chelsea. So, do they have to wait until technically the season's finished, or can they just suddenly come in for the last 3 games of the hectic crammed-in period that that we're going to have to play through potentially?
Great points. All great
Right.
points.
We're close up to an hour now, so just one last thing before we finish off. Go back to the start really again. If games are behind closed doors, just quickly, off each of you, would you be happy with that, or would you rather have no games, or because you're not there? So we'll start with you, Mark.
I think it's been said on Sky Sports and all the sports channels by professional players and everything else. The one thing that makes football is the fans, and I think I watched the last game behind closed doors on telly, and it was the game was the game, but the atmosphere. Sometimes it's to be the 12th player, the fans are needed sometimes to jeer the players. So would I be happy if we're behind closed doors? Probably not, because I would want to be there with them watching and play. I'm not playing. I'd want to be there watching. So for me, not behind closed doors.
For me, it comes down to if the choice is behind closed doors and they get the season finished, or the season ends here and now. It depends on whether we could see those matches if they were behind closed doors. Right now, I'm starved of any football, so I'll take it however it comes. But yeah, we watched the last game, and it just doesn't feel right. It feels quite eerie, and it takes away any sort of home advantage a team might or might not have. So ideally, I'd love to see the games played, but yeah, that's the other thing as well. If we do have games, for me, are we going to be able to see anything if it gets played behind closed doors? If not, let's just call it here and now, and let's plan for next season.
You not?
I'm going to be really selfish and say I don't care if I can see it on the FA player and all that stuff. It's not the same. And yeah, I'd love to see it right now. I'd love it to be live. I'd love to be able to watch it. But 12 player, that's what we are. That's what you need to know that you are. And if we're not there, it's not the same. And the girls know that. We know that. So it's we're there or nothing, For me, that's it.
How about you, Shane?
I don't want to sound like I'm sat on the fence too much,
Shane?
But I think no. Listen, it's if it gets too far in and they say the only option is to play it behind closed doors, I can accept it. Would I be happy with it? No, for exactly the same reasons as everyone else has said. Football's now with the fans, without the fans, and you imagine last game we had in the Europa League for the men, an empty stadium. Imagine if that was your Champions League final and you've got a completely empty stadium. You look at the muted celebrations from the players. Like Igalo scored an absolute banger of a goal. He should have been running off the pitch and doing knee slides and getting in everyone's faces. All you can do is sit there and just be like, yeah, I've scored. Because you haven't got the energy of the fans to feed off. So if I had to pick one or the other, I would rather it be fans are there at the games. And more so because that brings revenue into the clubs as well. There's teams lower down in the leagues that need revenue more now than ever. So fans are a source of revenue.
Yeah. I mean, the other side to that story is there's 2 points to that. Firstly, some teams might have to finish because the revenue's not coming in. You know, the other point to that, you know, Shane made a point about, you know, the Igalo goal and you know, he should have been running half the pitch with the knee slide. I mean, you know, at the Everton game, I'm not going to mention any names. Someone did a knee slide and we cheered them on. We cheered them on that knee slide.
Hey, come on, somebody headed the ball as well. And that was a highlight.
Beautiful, wasn't it? Beautiful header that.
Great header.
Such a casual reaction as well.
I'd like to hear you
say about that, right? When I walked on that pitch, so bear in mind we were on that corner, and where I walked on was behind Mary's goal. And as soon as I walked on, hear it, boom, it's electric. You can hear it, you can feel it. So if I'm thinking that, and I was just walking on there, imagine what it's like playing in it. Imagine what it felt. Well, I know you.
Imagine what it had been like if we'd have actually cheered you and not booed you.
Imagine what it'd been like if she actually scored.
No. Oh, for me.
To
be fair, she did put it in the bottom corner, but that wasn't the challenge. The challenge was crossbar challenge, and you were miles off.
We were shouting. We were managing that game for Mary. We were managing it. We were saying, Mary, do this. And she ended up doing it. And you could see a smile on her face when we said, dive on the ball. Then finally she dove on it. And she smiled because everyone was like, yeah. And you can feel it, the energy. The players give more when we're there. So it's a no-brainer for me.
Yeah,
you play it with the fans or you don't play it.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'd be selfish as well. I mean, I've not missed a game since Durham when we played Arsenal last season, unless you count that the Sanji Ford game that went to in pre-season. But competitive game, I've not missed one since last season. And if there's a game on, it'd be upsetting knowing that it's on around the corner and you can't go to it. But so for me, I just
let me just say one thing. I don't know what number you're on, Dave, but I'm 3 away from 50 because I missed 3 last season. And if I count the 2 pre-season ones, I'm 1 away from 50. So for me, if the next game's behind closed doors, that's me missing my 50th game.
Yeah.
Well, that's not to be your 50th game, then, Nat. If you don't go to it, it's not your 50th.
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
No, it is.
You've already missed your 50th.
Well, frankly, Nat, what are you on at the moment? 49?
Well, if you count the pre-season, I'm on 49, yeah.
Right, I'd prefer to call it 48 and a half, really.
No. Listen, you play half for England, you get a cap. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Now, we'll make a proper presentation for your 50th. We'll give you a guard of honour and we'll applaud you into your seat or standing area. Would that make you feel better?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
No, but I don't think do that.
You can take a penalty against Fred the Red at half time.
Hey.
No, I'll take a penalty against me. Yeah, that's what I should do.
Right, we're going to end it here, but a couple of things before we go. First of all, if anyone's like us, like for me, for example, I'm stuck in this house on my own, pretty bored all the time. If no one's got anyone to talk to, needs a chat with anyone, just message Barmy Army on Twitter, on Instagram, whatever. If you need someone to chat to, someone will get back to you. Someone will have a chat with you. Any issues with anything, someone will be there to have a chat. Secondly, be sensible. Only leave the house when you need to leave the house for, essential shopping, things like that. Don't be going out doing daft things. We want this over and done with as soon as possible so we can get back to watching football again. So everyone needs to be sensible. Everyone needs to be safe. You need to make sure washing the hands all the time, washing surfaces all the time. And if you're in contact with people, try and keep distance. So that's all we've got to say, really.
Can I make one more point? Sorry, Dave. We're going to try and do one of these every week. So we're going to get different people on all the time to keep everyone positive. So, yeah, just as Dave said, be safe, everyone.
Yeah, so the next one will probably be next week again. So if you try and watch it live with us, you can leave comments and stuff, and we'll try and respond to them in the comments as well. But this has been the Barmy Army Quarantine Podcast number 1, and we'll be back for number 2. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.